Hi, Jamie here. And the objective of people when they use subtitles or dubbing, it's for them to understand the story. Okay, so, but let's imagine that you are fluent and you are not using subtitles, let alone dubbing anymore, but you still don't understand many things. There are some things that go beyond the language and they're cultural. But I'm gonna go deeper on some things that are impossible to be translated. So you need to speak English and you need to have a very high level of English because you need to understand culture of other countries too, okay? And the first example that I'm going to give is like the most complicated one that I could think of. There's an animation that is amazing that is called Inside Out. Actually, the title in Portuguese is way more creative. Just so you know, the final word for the translation of the title of the movie is the distributors. So, not always that name of the movie was the translator's choice because of marketing and etc. There are many moments that are impossible to understand if you don't have this high level of English and you don't know elements like idioms. I'm going to talk about that. And this movie has a lot of these idiomatic expressions and cultural references, and it's a big metaphor for how our mind works. And there's a moment they decide to take the train of thought. They translate it literally. For you is just, it's kind of weird because why is this train in her mind? Because train of thought in English means something, but if you translate literally, it means nothing in Portuguese. It means just a train. And of thought, like, it doesn't make any sense. So you need to understand that this is an idiom, this is an idiomatic expression. Just so you know what it means in Portuguese, it means linha de raciocínio. Yeah, so imagine you're the translator and you have to translate that. Yeah, it's that hard. And the only people that will get the reference of the train of thought, this metaphor, that's why there's a train that they will get, are people that are native speakers or people who know like a very advanced level of English and know that this type of expression that are not like day by day expressions, you know. This is a very extreme case. To be specific, idioms or idiomatic expressions are expressions that they are connected to the culture of a certain place, of a certain country. So basically they cannot be translated literally at all because it will not make sense to the listener. I'll give one example in Portuguese. Actually, it's a Brazilian idiomatic expression. Just so you understand that, I guess if I tell you in Portuguese, você pisou na bola, I guess you understand if you speak Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese. But if you translate that literally, you stepped on a ball, that means nothing to them. To a native speaker, they will look at you like, what are you talking about? Because soccer is one of the most popular sports. It is the most popular sport in Brazil. So most of our sport idioms are related to soccer. As a translator, we try to find an idiom in the other language too. Yeah, and there's drop the ball, probably related to football. Because you have to carry holding the ball, and if you get tackled, and you drop the ball, that's not a good thing. One related to baseball is rain check, because if it starts to rain heavily, they need to stop the game. By the way, baseball is one of the most boring games ever. I'm sorry if you like baseball. Like, it never ends and there's no action. People sleep on the bleachers. But anyway, so they have to come back other day. And the name of this is rain check. So if you tell a person that you don't want to do something, like, oh, let's go to the bar after work, and you say, oh, rain check, that means that you don't want to do that at that moment, you know? If you translate that literally, it means nothing in Portuguese, because we don't have baseball, we don't have that type of situation, so it means nothing to us. You need, if you translate that into Portuguese, you need to find similar idiomatic expression in Portuguese. If it's not possible, we don't have any idiomatic expression similar to that, you have to translate in a way that you pass that idea. There's a movie called Wanderlust. It's not that of an important movie, but anyway, and wanderlust is one of those words that carry a lot of meaning. There's the classic case of saudade that you learn since you are a child, that Portuguese is the only language that has a word to express that feeling, and etc. Yeah, it's true, okay, but many other languages have words for concepts that we don't have. Like, you say one word, like if you say saudade in Portuguese, you don't need to explain a lot. People get it. Wanderlust. I consider that it doesn't have a translation into Portuguese, because this word in English carries a lot of meaning inside of this word. Like saudade. So I got the translation of the movie into Portuguese and of Brazil and Portuguese of Portugal. In Portuguese of Brazil, it was viajar é preciso. Yeah, wanderlust has this feeling of a necessity to travel, and Portugal translated as amor e outras cenas. What? Like, it has really nothing to do with the original title. And I watched this movie, and I need to say that it has nothing to do with the movie. But anyway, viajar é preciso in Portuguese is like the closest that you can get to wanderlust, but wanderlust is way more than that. So if you're that case that I commented, that doesn't need the subtitles, doesn't need much help to understand an English speaking movie, you need to be careful with these details, especially if you have a high level of English or you're fluent. You need to pay attention to these details. Anyway, English for Geeks is this segment that I put together, my original area, that is translation and interpreting and education and yada yada yada, and my passion for geek culture, and we clashed, and English for Geeks was born. I teach private classes too. My contact is in the description. I guess that's it. I spoke a lot. See you next time.